It's a simple-to-use espresso-focused coffee grinder with an impressive 4.6 out of 5-star rating and 146 verified buyer reviews. It's recently received a key upgrade with a larger burr set without a price increase. Hey, espresso lovers, Mark here from Latte Love. The original Eureka Mignon Silenzio has been a go-to recommendation of mine since it was released about 5 years ago. You know, if you're looking for a well-built, capable, easy-to-use grinder with an excellent track record that's fairly quiet and priced well, it's hard to do better. So the upgrade over the original is a larger 55mm hardened steel burr set compared to the 50s in the original. What does that buy you? Well, no price increase. Love that. Unless you get into the higher end color variations, the price is going to be the same as the original. And check out all these colors. These are just 11 of the 29 available options. You can see them all on our website. My personal favorite is the aged copper here, and I've dressed it up with this custom walnut lid. We'll talk more about that coming up. Also coming up, some test results for particle distribution, grinding speed, dose-to-dose, time grinding weight accuracy, and sound level. We'll also look at the precision of the grind size adjustment. How much does the median particle size change for each marking on the adjustment knob? Beyond that, I'll show you how to use it, including finding a starting grind setting for espresso. And that's a technique that's going to work with just about any espresso grinder. Plus, I'll have a look at internal components. And again, we'll check out some custom wood options and other accessories. So the basics, the Silenzio 55 can grind for all brew methods, but it's really espresso focused, designed to grind directly into a portafilter. Now this fork is adjustable to accommodate hands-free use of bottomless portafilters all the way out to narrower and taller ones. Place your portafilter in and push against the switch and the grinder starts. A switch on the side selects either manual or timed grinding. If set to manual, the grinder continues grinding as long as the portafilter is pressed against the switch. If set to timed grinding, press release the switch and grinding stops automatically once the set time completes. Time is set using this knob. It's not an exact time, with each marking adding about 2 seconds. In another upgrade from the original, the timing knob pushes in to lock in the setting, preventing accidental changes. This knob adjusts the grind size, while many grinders change the position of the top burr against a stationary lower burr. Eureka's Mignon grinders have a unique system which moves the lower burr against a fixed top burr. As you'll see when we get under the hood, this system makes it possible to open up the grinder for cleaning without losing your grind setting. The hopper holds a little over 10 ounces of beans, plenty for home use. It has a slide-in shut-off, so you can remove it loaded with beans without making a mess. It mounts securely into a rubber sleeve. Now, there is a hold-down screw at the rear, but with the snug fit of the hopper, I've never found the need to tighten on any Mignon grinder I've used, and I have used a lot of them. Like any new grinder fresh out of the box, there's a chance of some minor static in your grind until the burrs are seasoned with a coating of coffee oils. Now, we'll have a look when we go inside, but Eureka's A system does a really nice job of controlling static and delivering a relatively fluffy and clump-free grind to a portafilter at espresso grind sizes. You can operate the Silenzio in either the timed or manual modes. Like I mentioned, it's really set up to dose directly into a portafilter, but you can remove the portafilter fork and grind into another container if needed. If doing that, operation is perhaps slightly awkward, as you have to use the portafilter activation switch to start grinding in time mode, or press and hold it in if grinding in manual mode. As far as setting grind size, like most grinders, the numbers on the adjustment knob are mostly for reference, so I can't say use a certain range really for a particular brew method. That said, I did check a bunch of the grinders I have here for their zero grind setting. That is the place just short of where the burrs touch when running, and all I tested touched the burrs at about 1 mark below 0 on the knob. If you should get a Silenzio and you want to find your zero setting, and you should do this, and this also, it's going to work with most any flat burr grinder, run the grinder with no beans loaded and continue adjusting the grind size finer until you hear the burrs just touching, and then quickly back off until that sound stops. It's going to sound like this. That's your zero or finest possible grind setting. In my testing for espresso, a good place to start would be about plus 1.5 from your zero grind setting on the Silenzio. So grind a little and pinch some between your fingers. It should hold together a little bit, and if you can vaguely see your fingerprints, you're in the ballpark. From there, you can start pulling shots and dialing in to refine your grind size. If unfamiliar with the dial-in process, use a link that I've got up here or down there in the description for my video that's going to show you how to do that. For other brew methods like drip, pour over, and press, you'll need to adjust a lot coarser, and it could be multiple full rotations of the knob to get there. For any brew method, a scale is going to help you out a lot, especially for dialing in espresso. When changing grind size, you want to keep the coffee dose weight the same, and of course, weighing your coffee is the most accurate method for doing that. Now, keep in mind, whenever you change grind size, the amount of coffee ground in a given amount of time is also going to change. Grind coarser and that weight's going to go up, grind finer and your weight's going to go down. When grinding manually, you'll grind and weigh, and then if needed, bump the dose to add some weight or remove some if you got too much. When using timing, the Silenzio puts out about 2 grams per second at espresso grind size. The timer on the Silenzio, again, it's not super precise, but each mark represents about 2 seconds of grind time. So for an 18-gram dose, maybe start with a timer set like this between the 4th and 5th marks for about 9 seconds of grinding. Now, different coffees, of course, have different densities, so you might get a little more or less. Again, a scale is standard equipment for higher end brewing, so weigh your doses to confirm and adjust the timing as needed once your grind size is dialed in. Now, something I like about the Silenzio is when you are in timing mode, you can easily bump a dose a little by pressing in with your portafilter and then pressing again to stop. For our grinder tests, we always dial in grinders to produce a median particle size in the espresso range of 250 microns, plus or minus 10%. And to get there, we use a Lightel CM200 particle analyzer. So here's a graph of the particle distribution showing the percentage of grind particles in each size range. It shows a similar distribution to other larger flat burr grinders we've tested. Now, we've tested the previous Silenzio with a smaller 50 millimeter burrs, and in comparison, the larger burrs in the 55 did produce slightly fewer fines. Now, it's hard to say that will result in a significant difference in taste in the cup, but fewer fines, maybe that'll produce a cleaner cup. And as we'll see, the larger 55 burrs grind faster than the 50s. Next, we look at the consistency of time dose weight output. For that, I'm setting the grinder to between the 4th and 5th marks to get that grind time at about 9 seconds. Then we run that cycle 10 times and weigh each. Here's a graph of those results. Now, through the 10 tests, we got an average of 17.72 grams. Doses were fairly consistent, with 7 of the doses within 0.2 grams of the average. The largest variations were in the 2nd and 10th test at 0.5 grams. Honestly, grinding is a fairly chaotic process, and these results, they are respectable. In my book, 0.2 of the gram is inconsequential, so performance here is really excellent. Using the data from those results, I calculated grinding speed by totaling time and weight output and deriving the average in grams per second. Since the grinder does not have digital timing, I use software to measure the length of sound from on to off to get the real time. And the average grinding speed came in at 1.79 grams per second. In past testing, the original Silenzio with 50 millimeter burrs did 1.35 grams per second. So the larger 55s in the new model increased grind speed by 46%. For sound tests, we place a meter at operator ear level from the grinder and measure both average and peak dBA. It came in at an average of 71 dBA and had a random momentary peak out at 75.6. For reference, a toilet flush is in the 75 to 85 dB range. The Silenzio, while not exactly silent, does have a solid and pleasing tone that compares favorably to competing grinders. To derive precision of adjustment, we changed the grind size to one whole number coarser from our dialed-in espresso setting. Ground some coffee and ran another particle analysis. The median particle size went from 258 to 286 microns, a change of 28 microns, about 11%. Now, there are grinders that make precise changes easier, but it's no problem to make a quarter number change on the Silenzio's adjustment. And you do some math there, then that's going to give you about a 7 micron change in median particle size, and that's really precise. Opening up the Silenzio is easy. You remove the Eureka logo on the back to reveal a Phillips head screw. Take that out, and the top lifts off by angling up from the rear. From there, it's just 3 screws to remove the top burr to access the grinding chamber. Now, since that top burr is stationary, you don't lose your grind setting when opening things up. The gap between the burrs and the wall of the grinding chamber is narrower than what I see in most grinders, and the horizontal path out the delivery chute is shorter than most. Grind all the beans out, and those two qualities result in minimal stuck retention, which refers to the amount of ground coffee remaining in the grinder. Now, Eureka's ACE system, using these zigzag strips across the output, they control static and prevent clumping of grinds. The internal frame and housing of the grinder is commercial grade aluminum. My number one tip, if you are at all serious about espresso and coffee, get a scale. For espresso, it really is required. Weighing your coffee and output in your cup is going to help you to be more successful and produce consistent results. My second tip, and this goes for any grinder, is to find your zero grind setting. Once you know that, you have a reference. On most grinders, remember, the markings or numbers on adjustments are simply for reference and do not represent a particular grind size or brew method. Now, if you want to dress up your grinder, check out the custom options, including metal and a variety of real wood options, handmade by Vitamin in Germany. Combined with the 29 body color options, you really can put together a grinder that is your very own. And check out dosing funnels for your portafilter with the cutbacks. They're designed to work with the grinder and help to keep things a little cleaner when grinding or using WDT tools. The Silenzio 55 is set up for espresso and grinding directly into a portafilter. That said, it can be used for other brew methods, but remember, you're going to need to grind into another container and you're going to have to manually push on that portafilter activation switch to start grinding. In the end, the Silenzio 55 is a solid choice. It produces a well-distributed, fluffy grind, and at less than 10 seconds for a healthy espresso double shot dose, it's faster than grinders with smaller burrs. Easy to use and well-reviewed, a stylish package, again, with those 29 color options available. Now, if you have any questions about the Silenzio 55 or anything coffee, use those comments and I'd be happy to get you a detailed answer. And if you love coffee and espresso as much as I do, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm Mark. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll come back soon for more of the best on everything coffee, brought to you by Whole Latte Love.